Hey folks, T. Blake Brady here, and this video is to discuss my first impressions of the Forever Purge. I just went to see The Purge last night, opening night, a Thursday, in a sparsely attended showing of the movie last night, and just wanted to give my first impressions of it, talk about what I think the movie means a little bit, and how I think it fits into the whole horror oeuvre of the current era. The movie is ostensibly about a purge which happens every year, and you can go look up the details of how the purge works. I'm not going to explain those. This year it's different because the purge doesn't end at the designated time, and so it becomes called the Forever Purge. It's ostensibly an uprising. But not in the way you would think. It's not like people are valiantly trying to end the purge from the new founding fathers, the NFFA. No, this is people who want to take advantage of the system and punish the rich people of the world and those who follow the rules to make it more like the world they want to see. It's kind of like The Crow or something, where the criminals have taken over. And the movie centers around Josh Lucas and several other people. It takes place in a border town, basically on the border of Texas. And it's about them trying to get to Mexico because America shuts down its borders because it's martial law and things have gone completely haywire. So the movie centers around Josh Lucas and several other characters. There's a couple of, I guess I'll just sidestep to say that the other characters in the movie are ostensibly immigrants. And so they're undocumented people in the country, and they work for Josh Lucas's family. Will Patton is the paterfamilias, and he's my favorite audiobook narrator, so it's always good to see Will Patton. When the purge happens, this extra purge, the Forever Purge is what they call it, or the ever after purge. When that happens, Josh Lucas and the rest of these folks have to get out and go to Texas or go to Mexico. And we get really a sense of what America feels like today. And that's my impression of it is I really dug the movie. It's currently at like 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is way higher, but I would have guessed this movie was certified fresh. And who cares ultimately what Rotten Tomatoes thinks? But it's maybe my second favorite Purge movie, and it's certainly more sort of entertaining than the new Conjuring movie. I like parts of the new Conjuring, but if you're choosing between two movies and you want to go see something that's just purely entertaining, I think the new Purge movie is far more just purely entertaining. And it also speaks to where America is right now. It's almost like they could have predicted what happened on January the 6th at the Capitol, because the movie's not subtle. I'm not saying that it's this, witty satire that, Tom Swift would be proud of, but it is, I think, a fairly accurate portrait of where America is right now. And The Conjuring and a few other movie franchises, like all the Conjuring movies, they are far more popular, I think, and more indicative of, like, people in 10 years will say, like, the Conjuring movies were the most popular. But I think that the Purge movies may be a more accurate reflection of the times. Like, if we're thinking about how horror movies really do reflect changes in society, The Purge really goes for trying to show us what America is like. And it's not pretty. It's a really ugly look for America. But I don't think it's inaccurate. And I'm not going to get political on this, but it does make everything seem pretty terrible. And it does reflect politics. It's a heightened sense of where politics are, but it's not entirely inaccurate. And I really enjoyed the movie. I think the third act kind of falls apart, and I found myself sort of thinking about, like, I can't wait to go home. But the first 2/3 I thought were super entertaining, especially going through, I think it's El Paso. That was really entertaining. There's a whole section where they... Okay, I'm gonna stop. My favorite section of the movie is where they go through El Paso, and there is a character they meet. They get stopped by a group of, redneck sociopaths, and I dug that whole sequence. Actually, I'll say that like I mentioned earlier, the best part of the Purge for me was the kind of first half, and the best part of the first half was the post-purge, where it starts the sort of second, and the characters don't have no idea what's going on because there's this expected reality that's shifted, and it kind of speaks to how we've always played by these really weird rules for the haves and have-nots in this country, and shifting the paradigm so that the have-nots who are really angry don't play by the rules, and how that can just ruin society says a lot about where we are today, I think. And so everything that happens on the farm with Will Patton and Josh Lucas and Sweet Home Alabama's Josh Lucas, everything that happens from there to about the time they get to El Paso is really fantastic. Escaping the farm, the truck, when they stop in the city and they're fighting off people, and all of that was really fantastic. I thought it was kinetic and it moved really well. I liked the way that it was shot, the way they did overhead shots and moved the camera around a lot. Super good. And I put that up with anything I've seen so far this year as far as horror movies go. It was purely entertaining. It's not a super smart movie. I mean, all of the subtext is in the text. It's like, there literally at one point is a guy with a swastika tattooed on his cheek. And like at that point, all subtext is lost, but it's still fun in the most miserable kind of way. When you think about where we are as a country, it's kind of miserable to think about this. And when the first Purge came out, we thought we were divided as a country, but now we really are divided as a country. So it's less like, haha, look at how they're heightening reality, and it's just kind of actual reality at this point. I think the standout star of the movie, I like Josh Lucas. I think he's yeah, it is Josh Lucas. I think fits doing horror movies. I know that he was like a rom-com guy and then kind of, in my eyes, disappeared for a little while. I kind of liked him in this role. Although I think they don't necessarily show him growing as much. Like in the beginning, he's pretty not anti-Hispanic. He's not hateful, but he's certainly not good. And he's using his position of power to like kind of be a jerk. And so that part's not great. And so none of the characters really grow because it takes place over the course of a night. But we do get to see some pretty great action sequences, and the main female character, whose name escapes me, and her husband, who's the main cowboy in this movie. They were really standout performances. With not a lot of dialogue, both of them were able to convey the sort of strength and, I think, sort of interesting circumstances that they're under. It does play with the idea of America being a war-torn country. And they kind of toy with those ideas in a few parts of the movie, but they don't fully buy into it. And I think that's where the movie suffers, is that it seems to be reaching for some really cool ideas here, but never actually quite gets there. But the movie itself is entertaining, and I didn't want it to be too preachy. I wanted it to be like a B-movie exploitation gore fest. And it was that. There was lots of gunfire, there was a high body count, which you want in a movie like this. And I just really liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I probably won't watch it again. I got it the first time, but with this kind of slim pickings that are going on at the theater right now, I think the Forever Purge is plenty entertaining. And if you're going to go see a horror movie this weekend, maybe make it The Purge. That's it for this episode of First Impressions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that jazz, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. I'm T. Blake Pratty. Go to the movies.